Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon.
I'm Amir.
Welcome to the Mustardcast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how it's used across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. As usual, we're going to start with what media we're consuming. I'm going to let Amir start.
What media am I consuming recently? I just finished. Six of Crows, the book. It's not. It was interesting. I'll say that it was an interesting book. I'm on the second Liza Lockamora book now, Red Seas Under Red Skies. As with anything Liza Lockamora, it is so beautiful. Oh my God, the words just put together so eloquently. I have been hopping on Rainbow Six Siege. I got on that Rainbow Six Siege boat. That is a very fun game. I am so bad at it, but it is so fun. And I have been playing the new Call of Duty mode Outbreak for zombies. This needs to be a permanent mode. The fact that it was only a 13-day mode. There's like 11 or 10 days left on it now. Really stupid in my opinion. That should have been a permanent mode. That's the most fun I've had with zombies in years.
What is it? I don't think I've heard of this.
So basically what it is it drops you in a giant expansive, like a really big map.
Is it like what is those game called? I can't remember. What type of game is like Fortnite called? Like Warzone?
Oh, it's not a battle royale. It's not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it a battle royale with zombies?
No. Warzone currently has zombies in it though. So Warzone is basically a battle royale, but no. So Outbreak, it drops you in the middle of like a giant like a really, really big map. Not like Warzone big, but like it's definitely a big map. It drops you in the middle of that. It gives you an objective. You and the 3 other people on your team have to go complete that objective while killing zombies, of course. And those objectives, there's like a bunch of different types of objectives. And then after you beat the objective, there's a beacon. And you go over and you open it up, and like the pack-a-punch is there, the cola machine or the soda machines or whatever are there, the armor station's there, and the support station's there. And then you hit the beacon, everybody has to vote to go to the next area, then you go to the next area, do another objective, and so on and so forth. In each world, the zombies get harder and harder and harder and harder. And oh my God, it's so much fun. I'm having so much fun with it. And then you can exfil at a certain round. So far, I think my friends and I have only exfilled at like the 5th round. We meant to go with the 10th round, but like in order to make sure that you're strong enough to keep facing the zombies each round, it takes a long time. So like we're sitting there for like an hour and a half only on the 5th round, and we're like, hey, you guys want to exfil? Because I don't feel like getting around 10, sitting here for another like hour and a half. So but yeah, I'm having so much fun with Outbreak. This is literally the most fun I've had with Call of Duty Zombies in years. Like I think since
Black Ops 2.
I want to say since Black Ops 2, because you know how Black Ops 2 had like a really, really big map with zombies, and you had to like take the bus and everything. It was like a huge map. Yeah, it's like that, but like there's a bunch of different worlds. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm
trying to think. The last time I played zombies was Black Ops 3, but I didn't really play it that often. I used to play zombies a lot on Black Ops 2. What's that? It came out in like 2012. It's been a while since I've even played a zombie mode.
Oh yeah, Outbreak is so much fun. I'm like, I'm giddy with how much fun I'm having with Outbreak. Like,
You got anything else?
Let me think. Do I have anything else? I'm making a reading order for Nightwing in my free time. So like if you don't know what a reading order is, it's basically like it's a list of comic books in a specific order if you want to read like the history of the character and catch up on it. So it's like essential stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of Teen Titans in the comics or the TV show, like any of the TV shows. But I'm going to be skipping large portions of Teen Titans history. What?
I said, how dare?
I don't like Starfire that much. I don't like Cyborg that much. I don't like Beast Boy that much. I don't like Raven that much. I like Wally, but I like Wally, but I don't. If I were to read, like sit down and actually read Teen Titans, I would be reading it for Dick, Roy, and Wally, and that's it. Those are the only 3 people I would be reading it for, and I don't feel like sitting through them. I like Tim Drake's Teen Titans, because Tim Drake's Teen Titans are literally just the Young Justice team, but with Raven and Beast Boy and sometimes Starfire. So, I mean, like, I like those. I really only liked Starfire in Red Hood and the Outlaws. That was pretty much it. But, yeah, so I'm working on that. But, I mean, that's just more personal. But, yeah.
I can't believe the Teen Titans disrespect.
I don't like Teen Titans.
All right. Well, I finally finished season 2 of Rebels. I'm going through season 3. And
Jesus, I forgot you were binging Rebels because you were on season 2 for so long. I just assumed you had finished it.
Yeah, I see why you say you didn't like the beginning of Rebels, and you only really like the very end, because it's definitely slower in comparison to the 3rd season and the 1st season. And it's a bunch of kind of like side quests and stuff like that. But what
the second half of season 2 to the end of the series, like season 1 and the first half of season 2 are a little bit hard, but I'm telling you, when you're the second half of season 2, it's just better and better and better and better up until the end.
Yeah, it is. What I liked about it, season 2, was how they expand on the Force, and that's what I'm loving about Rebels so far, is that they expand on the Force so much. And I know a little bit about what's to come, so don't tell me though. But I know a little bit.
Okay, I'm not going to.
But it's so dope, and I love Ahsoka. So anytime Ahsoka's in an episode, I'm happy. Like those last 2 episodes were so good, so good. Like for example, the Lasat using the Force was cool.
Mm-hmm.
How Zeb had used like the staff to like channel the Force to lead them to the planet was dope. And so far in season 3, Bendu is like, I feel like they haven't really put much effort into exploring a character that specifically is in between like light and dark. They always focus on people that are trying to be a Jedi or
you'll get there.
And I'm just like, bro, y'all tripping. And I could tell already that Ezra's kind of going like, well, we could use both though.
I can't tell you anything, but trust me, you'll get there.
But I feel like yeah, in Rebels they're gonna touch on that a lot more, especially since they literally have a whole character that's dedicated to being like I don't even know how to describe it. And yeah, I want more stuff like the Night Sisters, like interesting uses of the Force that aren't what we normally see. But I've also watched Malcolm and Marie on Netflix, John David Washington and Zendaya movie. That movie was good. It was really good. I might have a guest on in a couple episodes so we can talk about that more. That movie was really good. I've been watching this anime called Fruits Basket. It's a remake of another anime. Fruits Basket was weird because it kind of subverted my expectations immediately. I'm not gonna say why. You guys just have to watch it. It's a rom-com. It's cool. I
haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot about it. Like, and I've seen a few clips of it. So
yeah, I watched this YouTube channel I've been watching for a long time called Blind Wave. They do reactions, and I watched them react to Texas Chainsaw Massacre again and The Last Airbender live action movie. So let's start with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's a great movie. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is so good. If you've never seen the first original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie from 1970, I think it was 7. No, it wasn't 7. 7 was Halloween. I think it was 75 or something like that, or 74. Yeah, it was 1974. But yeah, that movie's really good. It's a great horror movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Especially if you like slashers. It was literally like the first. The Last Airbender, horrible movie. It's not good.
It's not good.
You can look at it. There are definitely some things you can pick out. Like, for example, the costumes and the sets are actually really good. Like the Northern Water Tribe, in terms of looks, it looks good. Like it looks like if they translated it to live action. The giant ice like wall bridge thing that they have to bring down. even the way I specifically love the way the Firebenders dress, because the Firebenders are based off of like feudal Japan, and because of that, the Firebenders in the Last Airbender movie wear kind of like Japanese armor, and it's cool. It's like Japanese armor mixed with the Firebender armor from the cartoon. So they have the helmets with the giant spikes, and they have shoulder pads that kind of curve up, but not in like an extreme, super spiky curve like it is in the anime. And it actually looks really good. And even the way the Water Tribe people dress is, I mean, it's very accurate with Inuit's, war. And it's just, in that terms, it's great. But where it messes up is it tries to, it's difficult because they had to adapt. Or, I mean, had is a bit of a stretch, but they tried to adapt an entire season of a show, which was like 20-something episodes. And also, I feel like another place where they failed heavily was the acting was horrible. I feel like most of
the acting was god awful. That was maybe like the worst acting I've seen in a movie.
Actually, let me not go too deep into it because I know you've heard of all the Avatar news that's been happening lately. So we actually have this whole section dedicated to Avatar. We can come back to this. Okay. And let me finish what media I think is saying. I've been watching RWBY. I love RWBY. I know in a couple episodes I like trash talk it, but that's because I love it. Things you in this podcast you hear me trash talk Star Wars sometimes. The things I love, I trash talk because I want it to be better. And RWBY is one of those things where it's like I like it a lot, but it fails in a lot of places, and it could be much better. I was just playing MK11 with my little brother. I downloaded Kombat Pack 2 with Melina, Rambo, and Rain. I
need to re-download Mortal Kombat 11. You just reminded me.
I've been wanting Rain back for a long time. My little brother's been over here for the past 4 days, so I've just been playing Mortal Kombat with him every chance I get. Yeah, I was using Rambo. Rambo is actually, really fun to play. He's really fun to play. Rambo.
I have not bought any combat pack characters. I bought MK11 and then stopped playing it like a month after I bought it, and that was before like the second combat package dropped. So I haven't played. I've like hardly played it, but I want to re-download it and start playing it.
The reason I have the first two combat pack, the first combat pack and the I forget what they called it, but that like DLC story that came with a couple of characters that came out. The reason I have those is because my little brother wanted to play it, and I was like, okay, fine. And I don't play it that often. For me, Mortal Kombat, I don't play it online. For me, fighting games in general, we've talked about it before. I treat them, to me, they're party games. I play them. I like to play them in person, sitting next to somebody on a couch with controllers. And like when I have friends over or my little brothers, we'll play fighting games like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. But
I used to be like that, and then I got into the Injustice 2 online scene, and I like bought. I got like super into Injustice 2.
I don't know. Injustice 2 is good, except that I don't know. To me, it's just not as good as the first one because the combat system has another layer to it that makes it more complicated than the first one. That I feel like ostracizes new players, and it makes it hard. Like if you want to, spamming is spamming. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want and mindlessly play. But for people like me who don't want to play at a higher level but still want to get good, it's hard for people that want to play in that in between where they don't want to be a noob who just mashes, but they want to learn a few combos. It's weird because it's difficult enough to where if you just want to try and learn a few combos, it's going to be difficult. But you don't want to just spam. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it. With the first game, I feel like it was much easier to perform combos with all of the characters. I used to play Nightwing. My main now is Robin because he's the closest thing to Nightwing in Injustice 2. But yeah. Last but not least, WandaVision. It has been fire. Last episode was great. Have you seen it?
I did. I watched all the episodes. Just like with Mandalorian, there's like a small section in the morning in between class and work, and so I just watched the episode, then go into doing everything.
Yeah, I tend to stay up kind of late. So.
I don't know what's going on with me. I've been going to bed at like midnight. Early. I used to stay up until like 4 a.m. I've been going to bed at like midnight to 11 o'clock. So I can't.
Yeah, I pretty much go to sleep at 3 pretty much every day. So on Fridays, instead of going to sleep, I just go and watch WandaVision because it airs at 3. So yeah, Yeah, I watched it, and I also don't want to get spoiled because I always get on social media in the morning. So if I watch it literally when it's up, I can't be spoiled because I saw it before anyone else. But yeah, the episode was great. I don't want to get into spoilers because the last episode is next week. So the next podcast is going to be full-on spoiler. We're going to talk about the entire season because WandaVision has been really good so far. That ending makes me happy because it shows the sign of something that I've been wanting for a long time. But we'll talk more about that later. All right, on to current events. Number one, coincidentally, and Eric posted this in his story because he was the one who mentioned it last podcast. They're making a live action Yu Yu Hakusho. Eric had spoke that into existence when we were talking about anime that could work in live action. He had mentioned it. As soon as he said it, it happened. That's interesting. Like I said, I feel like of all of them, this is one that could work, except that it's being produced by Netflix. And the last time they produced an anime, they made all the characters who are Japanese. Like, this isn't a Naruto situation where you could literally, Naruto is a kid with blonde hair and blue eyes. You could have a white guy play Naruto.
Kishimoto said Naruto is American and Sakura is European. He said Sasuke would be Japanese. Yeah, so, like, it's not hard to point out which one's which.
Yeah, Naruto is a world where you could have a mix of different races. You can have black people in there. Like, you could have mixed races in there. But Yu Yu Hakusho literally takes place in Japan. Just like Death Note literally took place in Japan. I swear to God, if they change Yu Yu Hakusho to take place in New York or something like that, I'm going to be so mad. Let it take place in Japan and hire Asian people, for Christ's sake. They exist. We talked about it before. Asian actors exist, my man. Hire them. Number two, so a former developer for God of War, David Jaffe, posted on his social media that he wouldn't mind if Atreus was gay. And people got upset. And it's ridiculous. I'm sure you.
Yeah, I don't understand why people are getting upset about that. He's like a 10-year-old child right now. You have literally there's
not only
like
that.
Let him be what he wants to be.
Not only that, but he you play. Have you played the game?
Yeah.
All the way.
I didn't even beat it, but I played it.
Oh, you didn't beat it? Do you know what happens?
Yeah, I didn't beat it. I don't know. I'm not a super big God of War fan, so it doesn't matter.
Do you know what happens?
Oh yeah, no, I know what happened.
Yeah, so spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't played God of War and finished it. Atreus is Loki. So in Norse mythology, Loki is literally like a pansexual, like gender bending god. Like for people to say, "Oh my God, he's gonna be gay," like, dude, Loki has always been attracted to men. He literally in the mythology transformed into a female horse and had a male horse have sex with him. And then gave birth to Sleipnir, which is Odin's horse with 9 legs. So
it doesn't make sense that people are upset about this. I don't.
Why are you upset about this? Loki has always been like this. And the director of God of War, the 2018 version, came out and said this thing, and it's just a perfect sum of how this situation went. I don't know, I'm having a hard time explaining, but let me just read it. He said, "What real harm is done to you if you play a game with an LGBTQ character in it? Because someone from that community seeing themselves represented in any piece of media can have a positive impact in their real life. They feel seen. How does that hurt you in real life?" And that was in response.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was in response to one of the very disrespectful comments under David Jaffe's tweet. And it's like, yeah, he's right. How does this harm you? How does someone else being able to see someone like themselves on screen harm you? Me, myself, being a pansexual man, would love to see Atreus be pansexual, which he actually is. If
right.
If they're gonna follow the lore, which they tend to follow it to a point. They change it a lot, obviously, but in a lot of ways they still follow it. Like, yeah,
Kratos in Greek mythology.
Kratos
is literally
he was literally a Spartan, and Spartans were known to have sex with each other to boost morale. Like,
almost basically everybody in Greece in ancient Greece was bisexual, like raging.
Kratos is technically probably also bisexual.
More than likely, I would be surprised if he wasn't.
He was literally a Spartan. He probably had sex with some of his brethren. Like, like this is not anything to complain about. If that was the case, people should have been complaining about Greek mythology for a long time.
Right. Literally everybody in ancient Greece was bisexual. Like, it does not.
Yeah. So now we're going to get into the Avatar. So first things first, we're going to talk about the live action Avatar series that's going to be happening on. We're going to start with the bad news and get to the good. So,
all right, I'm fine with starting off with the bad news as long as we get to the good news.
We're going to get to the good. So,
I'm going to turn my camera off real quick just to go turn on the light. I'll be right back, but just keep talking.
Okay, so essentially, it's been rumored that Katara is going to be made older than Sokka. Katara will be 16, Sokka will be 14, while Aang is, of course, still 12.
Which makes no
sense. And the reason,
that literally brings nothing to the show.
The reason people are upset about it is because it takes away from several things. One of them is the two dynamics between the characters. The dynamic of Sokka being...
Let me actually move up because that light is right on my...
Yeah, the dynamic of Sokka being the protective older brother who feels like he has to take care of her and her grandmother, even the whole Southern Water Tribe, because he's the only man left, and the rest of all the other males there are little boys, like babies, and he's the only teenage male left there. He was the 16-year-old while she was 14, so he felt that he had to protect everyone, while he, on the flip side, he was actually very immature and wasn't very good at his job. And
right.
And Katara was more of the parent in that relationship, and she was like a mother, always taking care of him. By making her older than him, it kind of takes away from that dynamic a bit. The idea of her being the younger one, but having to be more mature because he's being so immature because he has a chip on his shoulder. Another thing is people are saying that they might be doing it to push the Katara and Zuko romance so that they're closer in age, because Zuko was also 16 in the show, and so they might be trying to push that a little bit more. And my opinion on that is, I don't mind them leaning more into it as long as the end goal is still Aang and Katara getting together. You know what I mean? If they push a little bit further to the point to where they hint at it and every now and again, but they never went to the point to where Katara and Zuko were actually together. If they did that and then they broke up and in the end Katara still ended up with Aang, I wouldn't be mad at that. The only problem with this is, and a lot of people are assuming that they might be doing this, which was mentioned in rumors before, to low-key sexualize her character, and that's why they want to make her older. There were rumors before that they were trying to make Avatar like Game of Thrones, more violent and more sexual, which is super weird.
That misses the whole point of Avatar.
This is a children's show, and it has nothing to do sex or anything like that. Attraction, sure, but that's a whole nother theme that doesn't need to be added to this story whatsoever.
As someone that was a fan of the whole idea of Katara and Zuko actually having feelings for each other and all that stuff, I wouldn't be mad if the live action show did more to explore that, but to make her older so that they can push that, not only one takes much more away from her and Aang, because a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old,
that makes it even worse.
That's creepy. That's it. It's a lot more understandable if there's a 2-year age difference, because if Zuko was 16 and she was 14, I mean, that's only 2 years. She's 14, Aang's 12. That's 2 years. Making that gap so it's 4 years, that's incredibly problematic.
That's very
in all the worst ways. Oh my God. No, just God, no. My God. I don't understand why they didn't scrap the live action show at this point.
Yeah, because I was when Brian and Michael were on it, I was like, yes. But then as soon as they left, I was like, oh, so this isn't going to be good.
Yeah, no, this is going to be bad then. Okay.
But speaking of Brian Konecko and Michael Dante DiMartino, they are hitting up a division of Nickelodeon called Avatar
Studios.
They will be making new series and animated movies, and it will be great. Their first project will be an animated film that's that they're starting, that they're going to start working on this year. I wanted to talk about how pretty much ever since the original series ended, it's been full of just outside influence ruining everything ever. Of course, the movie, which M. Night Shyamalan directed, produced, and wrote, and he did a horrible... Who in their right mind thought that M. Night Shyamalan, with all of the types of... The movies that he make are nothing like Avatar.
M. Night Shyamalan has not made a single good movie. Like, I know there are people that like some of his movies. I do not like a single one of his movies. And some of them are better than others. None of them are like should have given an indication like, yeah, he should write, direct, and produce this Avatar movie. Like, no, what?
It was such a weird choice. I low-key would have preferred the man who directed the other Avatar movie, James Cameron, to direct the Last Airbender movie.
Oh yeah, I would have definitely preferred James Cameron.
And he knows how to build a world. He would have been. I feel like he would have been able to do a better job. But yeah, like it was weird. And with Korra, they were told they only had one season, and as soon as season 1 ended and people liked it, they were like, nope, you got a second season. And they didn't plan for a second season, so they kind of had to fly by the seat of their pants, and they had the seam of their pants, and they had to just run with it and do whatever they could to get it done. And then it just kept happening. They kept going up. Oh, that's it. Nope, never mind. You got a third season. Oh, now you have a fourth season, but we're not going to air it on television. And they're just like, what?
Yeah.
They were just running them around in circles, and because of that, Korra was much worse off than it could have been. And I look at it and go, you can tell that it would have been amazing if they were given the proper amount of time and like heads up they were on the original series. Korra would have been so much better if they had. But because they didn't, it kind of just, the seasons vary. Like, it'll go good season, bad season, good season, bad season. Like, there are 2 good seasons and a bad season. I'd say the last season is okay, but in comparison to the rest, it's bad. So, yeah, I'm happy to see Avatar be put back into their hands, and hopefully Nickelodeon and Paramount let them just work the way they want. And they don't try to, influence their work any more than they have before. Because last time they did that, it turned out bad. And I hope that they understand that and that they step back and just let them do whatever they want. So I want to talk about things that we want them to potentially make. And for me, there are 2 things. I want them to. I've said it before. I want an Avatar Kyoshi series that adapts the Avatar Kyoshi novels that came out, because her story is very interesting to me personally. It's interesting to a lot of people. A lot of people like Avatar Kyoshi. There's also the comic book series where they talk about Zuko's mom, and they expand a lot on my second favorite character from the series, Azula. Zuko is my favorite, and they go so much more into her character, and I liked it a lot what they did with her character. It was very interesting. I would love to see them adopt that and make that maybe the 4th season. That would be dope. So, anything you would like to see them make?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So first, I want to see an Avatar 1 series. You know this. I've talked to you about this a few times. I want to see like a full-on series about Avatar 1. The 2 episodes that we got with him, they were cool and they got me intrigued, but I want more. Avatar 1 is awesome in my opinion. I really love Avatar 1. I really want to see where they go with that. Another thing I want to see is an Avatar after Korra. I would really love to see how the Avatar really deals with an evolving world where, as we see in Legend of Korra, the benders are becoming less and less prominent. There's still just as many benders, but the use for their bending is becoming a lot less. There's a lot less use for their bending. Like there's stuff that technology is taking over. And I would love to see how the Avatar, who's supposed to be that balance, is really having to deal with striving towards becoming that balance in a world that needs the Avatar less and less, and that needs bending less and less.
Me, I feel like that that would involve Avatar becoming literally just what they originally were, which was the bridge between the spirits and the humans. They weren't like Avatar, like their bending ability wasn't necessarily the crux of their position. Like what they were meant to be the bridge between the 2 worlds, and the Avatar would just have to be that bridge without using bending, because eventually guns will be invented, and what is a bender going to do against someone with a gun?
Right.
So yeah, that would be dope. I lucky just want to know something about the second Avatar. Who is Avatar after Wan? Who's the very second Avatar?
I would love to see. Yeah, no, I would love this for them to delve more into the past and into past avatars. I really want to see.
Somebody mentioned that there should be like a Avatar, like an anthology series that every season there's a different, every episode there's a different avatar, and that because there are a lot of avatars.
Oh yeah,
there has been hundreds of avatars. They could literally make a show where they could just have different writers come up with different avatars and like with different lifestyles and different time periods that do different things. Like that would be pretty dope if they did an Avatar anthology series.
I would love that. And even hang on, because my mom's unlocking the door. So if I just mute momentarily because the lock is loud.
But yeah,
yeah, I would love to see that though, because it's like if they do more Avatar, like even if they do more Avatar shows in like in the past, delving into past avatars, which I really want them to do. They could do like an anthology episode where like even if there is a Wan series going on, there's like a Wan episode, or they do an Aang episode or a Korra episode, do a couple of Kyoshi episodes. Like I would really like an anthology series. Like that would be
but
awesome.
The thing for me is I'm talking more just low-key, not even touching on any of the ones we've already seen.
Oh no, I know what you mean, like of doing ones that we haven't seen before, but like even if they did do like an episode on an Avatar that we have seen before, I wouldn't mind that at all either. Like just anthologies about the world and about the avatars. Yeah. That kind of reminded me of another thing I wanted at one point was a show about a non-bender as the main character struggling to exist in this world with a bunch of benders. I don't know what the plot would be. I would want to see this non-bender though go up against all these other benders, kind of like Batman existing in a world where like everybody has superpowers but him, and he has to step up and kind of like work as best as he can. And I'm imagining something. What'd you say?
So that would be dope. I feel like something like that taking place in maybe even the world after, like Korra passes, or even during like the Korra era makes sense because of like how technology is advanced, and they have those like electronic gloves and things like that. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Loki Asami could have been the Batman of.
She really could have, yeah. She kind of was in a way.
Yeah, she was. I feel like she could have taken it further. She learned martial arts to get both her parents done. Spoiler alert, I guess. Both her parents are done. So, yeah, I feel like she could have became the Batman of that world. Also, I would mind either a fifth Korra season where they actually, without any restriction, finally just straight up go, hey, they're bi or gay. Like, stop tiptoeing around it. And just, even in the comics, they never really confirmed it. They kind of just dance around it. Like, just straight go for it and be like, hey, it's 2020 now. We can just straight up tell you, yeah, they're dating and they're either bisexual or gay. Like,
right. That's one of the biggest things that made me bad about it is I'm not a fan of the Korra and Asami relationship specifically because the build up to it and the fact that they they continue to tiptoe and dance around it just makes it feel artificial.
They could like have another season where they actually build on it. Like,
oh yeah, if they have another season where they actually build on it, I'd be a lot more like, I would definitely like it a lot more, but it's like they tiptoe around it.
Yeah, because
the comics do a better job of it, but like
because they tiptoe around it so much, they could literally, because I don't want them to just come back and all of a sudden, like with the fifth season, all of a sudden Asami and Korra are dating, because we never saw that relationship build. But because they tiptoe around it and it's never confirmed if they're dating or not, instead we should see their relationship build even more, and then eventually they do end up dating. That way we see it build and it makes more sense than how kind of random it felt in the show because of how poorly it was handled.
Oh yeah, it felt very like, oh, show's about to end, last episode. Oh yeah, they're dating now. So there you go. Like that just felt kind of cheap to me. Yeah,
I'm excited to see what they make. It's because I feel like Avatar is kind of like Star Wars. There's so much to explore. There's so much. There's a big open world for them to explore in that universe. So let's go into comics. I want to talk about Boruto. Have you heard about the recent Boruto news?
I know that Sasuke lost the Rinnegan and Kurama died, so Naruto doesn't have. Naruto is like,
let's talk about that.
Back at square one, like worse than he was when he was a child, kind of.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's not true at all. He's not worse than he was as a child at all. He still has Sage Mode. He still has a lot of techniques. So hold up, let me speak.
He has Sage Mode, but he can't use most of the...
I'm not mad that Kurama died. I'm mad that they killed Kurama for the sake of making Naruto weaker so that Boruto can become stronger. That's my problem.
Oh, yeah.
The idea of Naruto losing Kurama and having to learn how to fight without him, to me, isn't a bad idea. And I feel like that could work if the show revolved around Naruto. That would be actually a really cool arc where he has a training arc where he has to get better with Sage Mode and just get good. Because we see that Kabuto became strong enough to fight Itachi
and Sasuke at the same time.
Sasuke with the Eternal Mangako and Itachi with his pretty much Eternal because he was undead. And they're Susanos, and he was just fighting them in his like perfect Sage Mode where he was a dragon. Like, I feel like that would have been dope if Naruto loses access to Kurama and instead has to get better with the techniques he already uses, because Minato, before he even got the other half of the Nine-Tailed Fox, was one of the strongest ninja who ever lived. Hashirama, who never had a beast inside of him, was one of the strongest. He was legit the strongest ninja ever until Naruto and Sasuke came around, and that was because of his Sage Jutsu. Literally, the reason why Hashirama was so strong was because of his Sage technique. Remember, that's how he beat Madara every single time he fought Madara. So I feel like Naruto losing the Nine-Tailed Fox doesn't necessarily make him weaker than everybody else, because we've seen people use the Nine-Tailed Fox and still lose. Like Madara, who by himself was stronger than the Nine-Tailed Fox, plus the Nine-Tailed Fox, still lost to Hashirama. Hashirama, the reason he was so powerful was because of his Kekai Genkai with the wood, but also his Sage Mode, which enhanced that even further. And even he beat someone. He was like the strongest ninja before Naruto and Sasuke came along. Like he beat someone like Madara, who had a full Susanoo, the Eternal Mangako Sharingan, and the Nine Tails with his Kekai Genkai combined with his Sage Mode. So I feel like it would have been really, really cool to see Naruto become super powerful just using Sage Mode. And he gets that perfect Sage Mode, like how Kabuto had, and becomes just as powerful as he used to be, but without Kurama. Because even Minato, before he got the other half of the Nine Tails, was considered one of the strongest ninja alive. And he came back and was even more of a boss, especially with Nine Tails along with him. So like, who is it? The third Hokage was one in his prime, was considered one of the best ninja because of his use of ninjutsu and how he knew like every ninjutsu that ever existed, and he knew how to use them to perfection. Like, so I feel like Naruto losing Kurama and Sasuke losing the Rinnegan aren't necessarily bad things.
Oh, I don't think they're bad things.
I feel like the only thing that makes Sasuke different is because maybe Sasuke could have got a Sage Mode and that could have been cool. But I feel like
Sasuke doesn't really need the Rinnegan though. He hardly uses it. Like he was powerful enough without the Rinnegan before.
No, he definitely uses it all the time. He uses it. He uses it.
He does not use it all the time. He uses it to like teleport, and that's about it.
That's the thing he does. In Boruto, the thing he does the most is teleport, and he uses it to teleport.
But he barely teleports though, because it takes too much chakra out of him to keep using, and that's why he always keeps it covered. But he's more than fine without it.
Yeah, but he doesn't have like enough chakra to really use the Rinnegan the way he like fully could. Like Naruto, of course, if he had Rinnegan, because he has a bunch of chakra even without Nine Tails, because he's a Uzumaki, will be able to use it better just because he has more chakra. But
right.
Yeah, like you said, without it, he's still strong. Like both of them are still capable without it, and I feel like could learn to become stronger if they didn't have the Rinnegan and the Tail Beast. And I feel like that would have been cool. But doing it just to make Boruto stronger is garbage. And I'm actually
Boruto so far has been
skip to something that we usually do at the end, but we're gonna go straight to but better, like the untapped potential. Because I want to talk about Boruto but better. Like, how could Naruto's sequel series have been better? And I think it could have been better if instead of going like 15 years into the future when Naruto and everybody has children, they went like 5 years into the future and followed Naruto in the process of becoming Hokage. And like what happened in between that time. And instead of focusing fully on Naruto, gave all the characters that they disrespected in Naruto Shippuden some more spotlight, like all of the women, all of them, Tenten, Tamari, Sakura, Hinata, all of them, and Lee.
Oh yeah, Lee needs more.
Lee, Lee, who was one of the dopest characters ever in the first part of Naruto, just to be sidelined later on in the series, which was...
I'm one of the few people that really likes the filler episodes because they expand on the world so much. I don't like filler in anime, but I love Naruto filler because they expand on the characters and on the world so much.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
go ahead.
I feel like we could have got more with Kiba and Shino as well, because those are two characters that a lot of people don't even be remembering Shino's name. There's an ongoing joke that people don't remember Shino's name. And I forget his name sometimes too. Like,
I don't forget Shino. I always forget Kiba is a thing. I constantly forget Kiba is a thing.
Ino as well. Ino kind of, her abilities kind of just like, they kind of suck. Like, they aren't very interesting.
Oh, I love Ino. Ino is awesome. I love Ino.
They don't do much with it for me to say that I love her character at all.
In my opinion,
Shikamaru got all the attention in the world at Shippuden, so he's fine. He'll be fine. Like I said, Sakura could be better. And again, I still don't get why they never gave Tsunade the first Hokage's Kekai Gekai, because she could have been a boss if he could use wood style.
Oh, speaking of using wood style, Naruto has Hashirama cells.
Yeah, he does.
So he should be able to use wood style.
It would be cool if he used wood style. See, look, he could have literally became the next Hashirama. He could have had no nine tails. He could have the sage mode and wood style, because he has that arm that's literally made out of a white Zangetsu, which is basically Hashirama cells.
Like if Tobirama, is that Tobi? Yeah, it's Tobirama. No, it's not Tobirama.
Tobirama was the
Yamato. If Yamato can use wood style with like a small amount of Hashirama cells, Naruto having an entire arm made out of Hashirama cells, he should be able to use wood style.
Yeah. I feel like, because here's the thing, the reason Naruto didn't die is because literally Kishimoto came back and took over writing the book because he found out Naruto was about to die. He's like, no.
Yeah, you don't get to do this to my characters.
He's like, you are not about to kill off the main character of my series. And he came back and shut that stuff down and said, nope, take it, make him weaker, don't kill him. And I feel like because Kishimoto is back, he might actually do some stuff like that. He might actually be like, Naruto gets stronger using Sage Mode, and also uses wood style. And he basically just becomes like Hashirama, except he's a Toad Sage. But yeah. And also Naruto has all of those. Actually, I'm trying to think, could he still do all those different types of Rasengan?
I don't think he can still do those because he was using Kurama too. Like, Kurama was facilitating all those other all the other Jinchuriki styles, like all the different elemental releases.
The only
ones like Kurama was facilitating.
Yeah, the only ones he was able to do are ones using elements that he already knows, like the Rasengan.
Wind style.
Yeah. But yeah. Keeping on comics, Milestone returned.
Yes.
Friday. I made a post about it. Go to our Instagram, at the Mustardcast. I made a post about Dwayne McDuffie specifically. So go check that out. And of course, check out episode 7 where we talk about Milestone and Dwayne McDuffie. Yeah, Milestone returned. I checked it out. It was like 40 something pages. Half of it was issue that they released a few months ago at like that DC fandom event. And they basically were just outlining, they were retelling the story of the Big Bang, which is how everybody, like all the like people in Dakota City got their powers, including people like Static and Rocket. But they did it in like, they did a modern take on it where there were a bunch of students and people having a Black Lives Matter protest and like in front of their school, and then the SWAT basically shot some gas that gave them powers because they were basically, somebody was using it to experiment on them, and they decided they would experiment on the Black people during the protest, and people got powers. It was dope. I'm excited to see Nicholas. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Draper Ivy, I think. I'm excited to see his art on us in Static. We already saw some of it, but I'm excited to actually see the full, issue. And as well, I feel like even more so than Static, actually, I'm more excited for Icon and Rocket. And mostly because of Rocket. Rocket is actually a really, really cool character. Every time she opened her mouth, she just said something that endeared me towards her even more. She's actually a really interesting character beside Icon, who's very stoic and just like Icon is like he's Batman but less serious. Like he's very like focused. He's very focused, but he still can find time to not brood. Like he's Batman, but he doesn't brood. That's exactly what he is. He's just as focused as Batman and just as capable. With Superman's power,
Icon is Superman.
Yeah, he has. No, I'm saying he in terms of
personality. Oh, you mean like personality?
Yeah, in terms of personality, he's literally has Superman's powers, but the focus and skill of Batman, and that's low key a scary combination if he was a villain. Luckily, he's not. But like if Superman was as smart as Batman, the world would die. And if he had the amount of money he did. But yeah, I'm looking most excited for Icon and Rocket, but I'm also excited to check out Hardware because I only know as much about Hardware as I did research for that episode of the podcast. So, like I said, Hardware is like if Lucius Fox became Iron Man. So how you feeling every time?
I am honestly, I'm not a Static Shock fan really at all. I've mentioned this a few times on here. I'm not a super big Static Shock fan. I don't know why. I've just never really been into his character. I've actually am a fairly big Rocket and Icon fan, but I'm more excited for Static Shock's return than I am for Rocket and Icon. Like I read the Static story. I'm incredibly excited about that. Like I'm so hyped for Static Shock's return, and I'm still excited for Icon and Rocket to make a return, but I'm not nearly as excited for that as I am for Static.
Yeah, so Future State, just to Future State's ending is let's wrap it up.
It's over technically by today, except for Future State Gotham, which is about Red Hood in Future State. That is actually getting its own series, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, so I'm actually checking something out. Jason and Ravager low-key make a good couple. I like it.
I hate them together.
I like it so much. I like them together. To me, it makes sense.
I hate them together.
Actually, I don't know. They just work to me. I hope Titans is good, but we'll talk about that in a second. Wonder Woman, I read Woman number 2. She went to Hades. She tried to get her sister, but couldn't sell her. So her Amazonian sister still in hell. She just in the afterlife. Well, not hell because it's not hell. It's Hades. Hades isn't necessarily hell. Hades includes also Elysium, which is technically like Greek heaven. So it's just the afterlife. And there's different levels of the afterlife. There's the good, the bad, and like in between. So yeah, Teen Titans Future State was weird. I didn't really like it, honestly. It was very odd, and it was also so ambiguous. They literally answered no questions, and they're obviously doing it because they want you to figure it out in Infinite Frontier. But I'm like, bro, you might as well not even made this comic because you told us nothing. They just showed us some characters, and that's about it. Also, what is it? Side Beast is weird because one, they should have called him Beastborg. That sounds better. There's alliteration. That name makes much more sense. And I don't know how it happened, and it's kind of weird. I don't like it. But also, in my opinion, Beastborg, his superior costume will always be the red and white one in comparison to the purple and black one. The purple and black one to me looks weird next to green. Purple and black looks very odd next to green, in my opinion, whereas red is literally opposite green on the color wheel, and they're complementary colors. So
I much prefer purple and green. Honestly, the purple, black, and green, in my opinion, looks better than the white and red one. The white and red one just looks like Christmas to me.
If it was white and purple, I'd be a little bit more lenient. But purple and black looks so weird in combination with green. I prefer the red and white. Like I said, complementary colors. That's why his original costume and his costume in the comics is red and white because it makes sense. But yeah, anything else you have to say about Future State?
Super excited for the future of it because Tim Fox is getting his own series during Infinite Frontier. Yara Flor is getting her own series in Infinite Frontier. Justice League ended kind of weird. It started really strong, ended kind of weird. Not really a fan of that. Batman and Superman, I know they needed an explanation as to why Superman didn't just stop the magistrate, but that felt a little weird. Robin Eternal was garbage. Flash Future State was also garbage. Dark Detective was pretty good, ended a little strange.
Oh, Flash Future State was horrible. It was, like you said.
Wait, what?
Flash Future State was
Oh yeah, Flash Future State was garbage. I don't know what they were. They must have been smoking something good in the. No, that was the worst series
you just reminded
I've read in a long time.
I need to read Future State Aquaman #2. I'm gonna read that later today. Because Future State Aquaman specifically, I really like the dynamic between Hyde and what's her name? Andy was really cool. I really like their dynamic. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with Infinite Frontier leading up to Future State, because I mean, the idea is that it's a possible future, so things might not go exactly the way it does, but they're still trying to kind of like sow the seeds of the future after Infinite Frontier being similar to Future State. Yeah, going to TV and film. Mortal Kombat, the trailer came out. So why you doing that? So initially I was not feeling that trailer. The reason I wasn't feeling the trailer because it didn't feel very Mortal Kombat-y. I was just like, something's missing. And you know what was missing? Johnny Cage.
Yes, I don't
you know what was missing from that trailer?
You try to have a Mortal Kombat movie without one of the original 3 main characters.
Yeah,
but
you know what was missing from that trailer? Johnny Cage was missing, and his energy and that inherent. There's something that I feel like is missing, and I hopefully isn't missing from this movie. Is I can tell they're going to do it a little bit, but that kind of inherent corniness that comes with adapting a series like Mortal Kombat. It's literally a video game about you brutally murdering people and people not dying when you like do a like X-ray on them. Like this
people don't die when you kill them. That's pretty much.
This series and it started in the 90s, so that kind of like 90s feel that the original had. I felt like they should have retained that a little bit. And I compared it to one of the Mortal Kombat 11 trailers. And I was like, this Mortal Kombat 11 trailer. Now this feels like a Mortal Kombat 11, a Mortal Kombat trailer because one, Johnny Cage is in it, and he's cracking jokes and he's doing all his Johnny Caginess, you know. And secondly, I felt like if you're gonna use the Mortal Kombat theme song, use the Mortal Kombat theme song. Don't try to combine it with some generic action movie theme song. No, just use the Mortal Kombat theme song through and through. Remix it. Go ahead and remix it because they remixed it in the Mortal Kombat 11 trailers. They remixed it. They didn't use the exact same, theme song from the 90s movie, but it still had the same energy as the original one. And I feel like if you're gonna use it, just use it. Don't try to change it up too much. I mean, I would assume they'll have a second trailer. If they don't have a second trailer, I'm gonna be upset. And I want the second trailer to give us that energy. I want the second trailer to let us know this is Mortal Kombat. People like this is gonna still have that same goofy energy that Mortal Kombat is known for, combined with the sometimes serious tone that they take during the tournament. After watching it, I watched the trailer so many times that I like it now. But when I first saw it, I was just like, something's missing. And like I just explained what was missing. But after seeing it so many times, I actually like the trailer. Before you go, I just wanted to say, I was watching. There's this show I plan on checking out on HBO called Warrior, because I'm about to get HBO back because Kong comes out at the end. I mean, Godzilla vs. Kong comes out at the end of this month, and they also added a second season of the show called Close Enough, which is made by the same creator as the regular show. It's essentially, I think I might have mentioned it before. It's low-key kind of like if Mordecai and Rigby got married, but Rigby was a woman. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Good show. But yeah, the show in there called Warrior. Joe Townsend, the dude that plays Sub-Zero, he's in it, and the fight, the stunt coordinator for Mortal Kombat is the same stunt team from Warrior, And I was like watching fight scenes, and the fight scenes look really good. So that makes me excited for the fight scenes in Mortal Kombat. Go ahead.
So I'm much less positive.
Your audio is mad weird right now.
Is it any better?
Yes, you sound like a robot.
Okay. I don't know why. That's my bad.
See if that helps.
Is this better?
No. You might have to leave and come back again. What's going on?
I'm not leaving and come back.
No, dude, you're gonna have to leave and come back.
Is this better?
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
I'm keeping that in. All right, go ahead.
So I am a whole lot less positive about this trailer than you are. This does not feel like Mortal Kombat to me at all. This is not the Mortal Kombat I know and love.
Here's the thing. I really thought you were gonna disagree with me. And I'm glad you agree a little bit, because I felt this, it felt weird, right?
This looks and feels like a fan film, in my opinion. Maybe it's just because I love the 90s movie so much and I love the franchise so much. But at the same time, I feel like it's not just that. But this looks and feels like a fan film to me. It looks and feels like it's not going to be good. And I want it to be good, but I have serious doubts about how that's going to turn out.
I think it's going to be better than the original movie. At the very
I
least.
hope so.
I think at the very least it'll be better than that, but I think that it still won't live up to the standards of like how good a superhero movie could be. I mean, as a superhero, I was about to say comic, God darn it.
Well, Mortal Kombat does have comics.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, Johnny Cage, man, that goofiness, that, like you said, the 90s kind of corniness, I feel like they need just a little bit of that. And I want to talk about the idea of Cole Young to begin with, which is, this is a movie based off a franchise that is super popular. This franchise spawned the creation of the ESRB. This for people who don't know, the ESRB is the rating system for video games. That was literally created because Mortal Kombat was so violent. Like, this game is infamous. People who have never played Mortal Kombat still know what Mortal Kombat is and could recognize Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Sonya, Johnny Cage, and stuff like that. People could recognize these characters having never played the game. So there is no need to add a new character. Everybody knows all of these characters. You know, if you wanted to add a new character, there are a lot of Mortal Kombat characters that we don't know very well. You could have took one of those characters. Like, there's a character that's going to be in here that could have low-key took the place, I feel like, of Cole Young if they wanted him to. I can't remember his name. Riken? Riken is a character, I think. I don't think that's who that is, though. It's something like that. Havoc. No, it's not Havoc. It's someone. I don't know. There's a lot of Mortal Kombat characters. My idea is that he's meant to represent the audience. He's meant to be that character. It's like, he's new to the world and he's like channeling the energy of everything that's going, like, I'm confused. Like the audience is supposed to be. That could have just been Johnny Cage.
That's exactly what I'm saying. He literally is taking the role. He's taking the story role and like the viewpoint of Johnny Cage, but you're making him more serious and like, just put in Johnny. Like, what are you doing?
Now, some people are saying something, and I think that this honestly makes it a little bit worse, is that they're saying that this might be my favorite character in all of Mortal Kombat history, Kuai Liang, the second Sub-Zero.
I've heard that too.
The Sub-Zero in this game is Bihan, the first Sub-Zero, who becomes Noob Saibot later on. People are saying that Cole Young might be Kuai Liang, who was like sent somewhere else, like away from the clan, because, you know, the clan, excuse me, it's kind of evil. But
kind of.
I think that's ridiculous. That's unnecessary. Like we just said, one, you already have Johnny Cage, who was a character that was well known that could have filled that role already. Two, why change Kuai Liang's backstory? What's the point? He could have still just been on what do they call it? The Lin Kuei. He could have still just been part of the Lin Kuei and Sub-Zero's younger brother. And, you know, Bihan dies. He gets killed by Scorpion. And then in the second movie, Bihan comes back as Noob. and Kuai Liang comes back as Sub-Zero because who is it? Kuai Liang respected his brother, so when he died, he took up his mantle. Another thing, and do you know Maximilian Dude, the fighting game YouTuber? He reacted to it because, well, he's a fighting game YouTuber and he reacted to it. And the one thing he didn't want, which was something that happened in the original movie as well, was Reptile being a giant lizard monster. And it looks like Reptile is going to be a giant lizard monster. And honestly, if I'm being honest, that does kind of suck because Reptile has never been a giant lizard monster in the games. Actually, I think he was in one of them, or in one of them. I think it might have been in Mortal Kombat 4, the first 3D Mortal Kombat. I think he might have been a giant lizard monster. But in most of the games, he has the proportions of a human. But he has scales, he has claws, he has acid that he can spit out of his mouth. He has a lizard face. Why not just do that instead of making him a giant lizard monster? But yeah, I feel like they didn't need to make Reptile a giant lizard monster. That was weird. Also, Kano's a good guy in this, which is kind of weird. I don't know. I feel like he's definitely going to betray them. That's kind of his thing, is betraying people. So, like, it would make sense if he betrays them. Cabal's in this. It looks like, I feel like people are saying that Cabal might get his burn marks from Liu Kang because he's fighting Liu Kang in a trailer, from Liu Kang using the dragon and burning him, that would actually be just like how they made it to where, because the way Jax uses his arm always changes, and this one he loses it because Bihan freezes them and shatters them, which was, when I saw that, I was like, okay, this movie's gonna be just as violent as I want it to be because it's Mortal Kombat. But yeah, I'm still cautious. I'm cautiously optimistic. I've always been cautiously optimistic about this movie.
I remember when we first had our conversation about this Mortal Kombat movie, and you were like, I really hope that Jax's arms look good, and these aren't like, these are not the Jax arms you want.
They aren't, and I'm upset. I don't like them that much. I don't like them. They're okay. I don't hate them, but I wish they weren't the way they are. I hope they like get upgraded or something and look more sleek in the next movie. I just don't like how bulky they look. Like, I don't know, because even Iron Man's armor looks less bulky than that. Like, I feel like it should look like the his armor from Endgame and Infinity War. Like, it was more sleek and like it was still kind of like protruding in certain places, but it was very round in comparison to his other armors, which were more kind of pointed and edged.
Angular.
Yeah, angular. That's the word I was looking for. So moving on to video games, away from this video game movie. So
wait, speaking of video games, I didn't even ask you. Did you see the state of play?
Hold up. That's what we're getting to. That's literally
Okay, listen. I needed to ask you. Wait, I needed to ask.
Start with something else. So literally the day that I posted because we recorded the Sunday before the Thursday we post. Literally that Thursday, the Nintendo Direct happened that I was like murmuring about. And they announced a Zelda game, but not the one we wanted. It was a remaster of Twilight Princess, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess.
I still don't have a Switch, so
I'm porting it to the Switch, and that is literally probably like the most hated of the games. I feel like that's not the word I was trying to use because a lot of people do love that game. It's I don't know, I guess the least liked. I don't know the phrase. There's a phrase I want to use, but I can't remember. Like, of all of the Zelda games, that's the one people like the least. So that was a weird one. But I guess it's cool. It was the last Zelda game before Breath of the Wild of the mainline Zelda games, and that's probably why they decided that was the one to port. And it makes sense because it was literally only available on Wii, and that's because you had to use the nunchuck and the controller to play it. But now, because of you have the Joy-Cons, you can use that to play it now. There was also a Pokemon Direct. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that. We both said, those are only like turn-based games we could play for at least a little bit of time before we get tired of it.
Diamond and Pearl is my favorite Pokemon game, so I really want a Switch to be able to play.
Yeah, they remade Diamond and Pearl, Brilliant Diamond, and what was the Pearl one called?
I don't remember what the Pearl one was called, but Diamond was my favorite one.
So yeah, and they announced a new Pokemon game that's kind of like people
the
Breath of the Wild because it's more open world and they changed the combat system a bit. which a lot of people are saying this has been a much needed refresh for the series because essentially Pokemon has been the same game for the past like 25 years, which is completely true. They haven't really changed much in terms of combat, and Pokemon has been the exact same, almost the exact same for the past 25 years. So a little change is great. You know, call me when they start using Final Fantasy VII Remake's ATB system, because like I said, to me that's the pinnacle of mixing what I love, which is hack and slash, with turn-based, and I think every RPG needs to use it. It's great. Speaking of Final Fantasy, let's talk about the state of play. I'm sorry, we're going to start with Final Fantasy because it's a good segue. Of all of the things they announced, even though they didn't announce much, they announced Final Fantasy VII Integrate, which is an upgrade pack plus Yuffie DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake, which it's only available on PlayStation 5, plus all the features that comes with it. What kind of sucks that this is obviously them trying to get people to upgrade by forcing them to go, hey, if you want this DLC, even though we could have easily put it on PS4 because we also put Final Fantasy VII on PS4, too bad. The DLC is only available on PS5. You have to get a PS5 if you want it. And then if you want all of the upgraded features, which makes sense, but the one thing that doesn't make sense that doesn't come with the PlayStation 4 is the photo mode. For them not to add the photo mode to PlayStation 4 is ridiculous.
My thing is, if you want people to buy PS5, make more PS5s available. But that's just me. Hey, who am I?
That situation is a bit precarious. So next, I want to talk about Deathloop. New trailer with a James Bond type theme. I'm so excited for this game. We still don't have a release date. I don't think
we don't have a release date, but I don't care as long as they keep releasing trailers like this. Oh my god,
Deathloop looks good. I feel like at this point, there's no reason for them not to give us like a 20-minute gameplay demo or something like that. Like, I know the game probably has bugs to, like, not demo for us to play, but just demos for us to see. Like, I feel like
how Gotham Knights had that gameplay demo thing.
I feel like give us a good 15-20 minutes gameplay demo. I would love to see something like that because I'm so excited for this game. We love Arcane. We love immersive sims, as we talked about in previous podcasts. I'm excited for this.
I'm so excited for this. Like, this is maybe, if it's not my it's not my most anticipated game. I'd probably have to give that to Gotham Knights, but it's like in my top 3 most anticipated games of this year.
Yeah. Another one. Speaking on more PlayStation, I started a bit. So apparently more PlayStation exclusives are coming to PC, starting with Days Gone, which is confirmed to be getting a sequel. By the way, I didn't play the first one; it didn't interest me. But I
didn't play the first one either. I'm not a big zombies fan.
Depending on what it looks like, I might play the second one because the idea was that there was going to be huge hordes of zombies, which they couldn't actually do because of limitations to PS4. But since the game is going to PC, I feel like the second game will also eventually go to PC, and because it's going to be on PS5, they'll be able to do bigger crowd simulations, so more zombies, like they kind of advertised but weren't actually able to do. So the CEO of PlayStation, Jim Ryan, said the reason that they are putting more PlayStation games on PC is because the cost of games have gone up with each cycle, and the caliber of the IP has improved. So they're basically saying there'll be more places for people to purchase it. That way they make more money to keep paying to have these big giant games made. Because every year the better technology gets, the more expensive it is to make the game. So they need to bring more money in so they can keep affording to make these high quality games. Now a question you might ask is, let me look at my notes. Where's the question? I'm sorry, I was just looking at it. Why not have a PlayStation launcher on PC so that if you already have a game purchased by a PlayStation Network, you can just sign into PSN on PC and then download it that way. If they did that, you wouldn't be buying it twice. That way, they wouldn't be making more money. They wouldn't be able to make more money.
We've talked about PlayStation's greedy business practices before.
The thing is, the reason I'm not that mad at it is because the reason they have to do this while Microsoft doesn't, and Microsoft does have an app on PC, and any game you play on Xbox, even their exclusives, you can play on PC, is because they can afford to do that because they're one of the richest companies on the planet. Sony is nowhere near as rich as Microsoft, so they can't afford to do something like that. So they're like, I'm sorry, but they got to make money, bro. A lot of the things they do, I don't agree with. But this one, I'm like, I understand. because if we want to keep getting God of Wars and Spider-Mans, they have to make money so that they can afford to make them. So I can't be too mad at it. But at least PC users will now be able to experience these games that people with PlayStation have been able to experience for so long. Now people with PCs could experience tons of PlayStation games along with all the third-party games and the Xbox games that they can play via, the Microsoft Store. So PC, you can play any game there at this point, except, not all PlayStation exclusives are there, but eventually you'll probably get to the point where all PlayStation exclusives end up being on PC as well. And next, I want to talk about the Nemesis system, which is a system created by WB for the Shadow of Mordor series and Shadow of War. They patented it, which is garbage, and the reason why. I can't say patent. The reason, patenting something like this is bad is because it keeps other studios from using it, and that therefore keeps it from evolving. They can evolve it in studio with just the WB studios, but that limits how much it'll be able to be iterated on, and how much better it could be made, how much it could improve. Because if you have like 10 people working on this same system, they all individually will make breakthroughs, and you combine that and you have the Nemesis system being far better than it was before. Let me actually explain what the Nemesis system is, because I'm just talking about how it could get better without telling people what the Nemesis system actually is. So I'm gonna just read it because it's kind of hard to explain. The Nemesis
It is kind of hard to explain.
Yeah, the Nemesis system uses procedural generation to randomly create NPCs with their own individual names, visuals, stats, traits, strengths, and weaknesses, and dynamic responses to the player, which affect how they'll respond in their interactions. A good way to think about it is the yes and rule of improv, which is to accept your partner's prompt and build on it. That's essentially what the world and Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor do. Whatever you do, the world reacts to it and changes based on it.
Which you think would make Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor be super good. They're very mid games.
Yeah. This allows the NPCs to feel like unique characters with wills of their own. It makes them feel like they aren't really being controlled by a system. It feels like they kind of are like Skynet, and they're just doing whatever they want because it makes them feel more natural. And that's kind of what the Nemesis system allows the world to be. And it allows the world to be more random and for characters to interact in ways that seem natural, therefore making the world itself seem more natural. Again, the reason the patent is bad is because it slows down progression of this system and procedurally generated systems in general, because somebody could have taken the Nemesis system, evolved it, and made a whole completely different system.
Not just that, it's also the fact that now this can't be in any other games that aren't WB games unless they pay WB to use the system. So like imagine if...
That's the thing though. That's the one limelight, is that potentially they could like, rent it out for lack of a better term. They could have people pay to use it.
Also real shady and real bad business practice. Like imagine if Bethesda, who made like Wolfenstein and Doom, which were like the first person shooter games, imagine if they were like, oh, we're patenting first person shooters.
Yeah.
And now you can't, we lose out on so many amazing games that we love because they patented a system that, like, it's not even patenting a system or an idea, it's just patenting like a way to play. And like it's
like imagine how much better games like Telltale games would be, if Telltale still existed, if they used a system like the Nemesis system, where, like, as much as they say your choices matter, your choices don't matter that much in Telltale games. That doesn't make them bad games. Those games are still very enjoyable and super fun. But
it's like most of the choices don't matter until like the very end of the game.
No, the only games that actually manage to be like your choices actually don't matter are Until Dawn and the other games that that studio made. But let me look at the name of the studio.
Supermassive. Those games are
Supermassive. They make some great
interesting.
Games. And they're mostly all horror, but they all, like, your choices literally matter. Like, characters will die. but characters could survive. All of them could survive if you played a certain way. So I feel like combine that with the Nemesis system, system, and you'll be able to have something great. Imagine a Star Wars game using the Nemesis system. Like, that would be great. Like, imagine so many games using the system, but they can't anymore unless they, pay WB to use it. Hopefully, I don't know. I don't feel like they'll change it, which is upsetting. But I mean, I can hold out hope that they'll see the backlash and maybe make something better with it. Even if they do have, people have to pay for it. If we still can get other games that use it, I'll be happy. So I wanted to talk about exercise video games. So like the reason I want to bring this
wait,
because I talked a lot and then just said moving on.
Wait, we went over Deathloop, but we weren't going to talk about any of the other games in the showcase. We were going to talk about Sifu, really?
I don't really care about any other games, to be honest.
What? You don't care about Sifu?
Sifu looked interesting. It looked like the hallway scene from Daredevil when you're just playing it. It looked interesting. It doesn't interest me so much.
That is like maybe the my second most anticipated game of the year. Yeah. Like, I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, it did look interesting. I don't know. I'll have to see more of it for it to spark my interest. Just from what I saw, it looked cool, but it didn't really make me go, I want to play that.
No, that surprises me a lot, actually. That really surprises me.
There are very few indie games that I really see and go, I want to play that. Because I feel like there are certain things that just either indie studios try too hard to be different, and because of that, they never make the type of games that I like. Because they won't step into like
there
are very few hack and slash like indie games. And
that's severely surprising to me.
Hack and slash is my favorite genre, and I feel like they refused to touch it, or at the very least, they're never that good. So I'm just like, if they're not going to make the type of games I like, then there's no point in me playing them. And there are tons of indie games that I hate, where the indie game has a cool trailer that's like a cinematic trailer, and then they show gameplay, and the gameplay is just like not the type of game I like at all. And that happens a lot. Like, I'm not a big side scroller type of guy. There are a few that I'm interested in trying, but I might check them out, but I probably won't, play them all the way through. But I'm not that big into side scrollers. And I feel like every interesting indie game I see ends up being a side scroller, and I'm like, man, come on. That is mostly due to the limitations of having a small team, and it's easier to make something like that than it is to make a like 3D game. So that it makes sense why most of them are side scrollers, but doesn't change the fact that they are side scrollers. And like I said, it's by virtue of the fact that they are indie studios and have a limited team and budget that they aren't able to make the type of games that I like. That's, unfortunately is the case. There are very few indie games that really, spark my interest.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe, I'll be the first person to make an indie game that I actually like. I'll have to make it myself for me to actually like it, because I'll make something that I like. So exercise video games. The reason I wanted to bring that up is because this was a few months ago. I was playing Final Fantasy VII. There's a like side mission where you like get into like a squad competition, and you have to like press buttons in unison. They go in like a diamond shape, but they slowly disappear, so you don't see the buttons. And it moves at a certain speed, and you have to remember the speed and timing of when you have to press the buttons, as well as the buttons you have to press. And I decided to do that while actually doing squats. So I actually got up and did squats with the characters as I pressed the buttons, and it was fun. My legs hurt after I was done because I did far too many. And it made me, just think about how much further exercise games could be taken. I feel like the people that take it the furthest are Nintendo. Especially with even though the ring looked ridiculous, Ring Fit looked ridiculous at first. Like, when I watch videos of people, YouTubers I like Run JD Run, who's the son of John David Witherspoon, may he rest in peace, the, voice of Granddad, and, who's the father in Friday. He was playing with the Ring Fit, and, he was getting to work on it. And I was like, I feel like this is the best way to get people, especially people who play video games, to want to exercise, because I feel like that's the struggle. It's having the motivation. Sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. I'm gonna have to cut out that curse word, but sometimes you just don't feel like doing stuff. You just don't. And even though I do enjoy working out, my brain tells me like, man, you don't feel like doing that. And I'll be like, you're right, brain, I don't.
Motivation is definitely something difficult for me.
Yeah, so like taking popular franchises and making exercise in video games off of them would make it even better because it would make more people gravitate towards it. Final Fantasy literally just made a battle royale, so there is no reason why they couldn't make a fitness game, because there are several fitness side quests in Final Fantasy games. So for them to make a fitness game, it would make sense. For you to like hold the controller and have to do squats, or hold the controller and have to do sit-ups, or they have something like the Ring Fit where it could force you to move your body in certain ways that helps you work out certain muscles. Another gaming device that helps with exercise is VR. My little brother got Oculus Quest 2 for Christmas.
Y'all rich. Okay.
We were taking turns playing Super Hot VR, and after like 10 minutes, you're sweating, especially if you're in a house with heat on, like I am. Like you'll start sweating, and after like 15 minutes, and after a while, you'll get a workout in. You'll get some cardio in because you're moving around, dodging, and trying to shoot the guns and things like that. It's fun. And there are even boxing games in VR that people played to work out. And VR, Ring Fit, even something similar to like what Final Fantasy did. Even though I didn't have to squat, I decided to do it because I wanted to work out a bit. I feel like things like that would motivate me to work out more. I need to get Oculus so that I feel like at that point I would literally just work out every day because I would, want to put on Oculus and play a game real quick and get a good 30-minute workout in. And I would lose some weight.
I want a good like fighting game, kind of like Sifu, but like in VR.
Yeah, Sifu in VR.
I want that.
That would be cool. But yeah, very quickly, I want to talk about Castlevania and Konami and how they suck. So we talk about Konami. Konami sucks. They ruined Metal Gear by pushing out Kojima, and they don't do anything with their IPs. They have Castlevania, they have Metal Gear, they have Silent Hills, and they don't do anything with them. People are hoping for Blue Point, the people who remade Demon's Souls. That's still a stupid name. It's really hard to say. I don't know why they decided to do that. It's probably easier to say in Japanese because it was originally made by a Japanese company. But yeah, Castlevania, I felt like they started a genre called Metroidvania. For people who don't know what that is, it's named after both Castlevania and Metroid, who use a map style that involves you pretty much
backtracking.
Not only backtracking, but finding shortcuts to get back to where you were before, so that the map kind of opens up in certain ways. Games that do that are like Resident Evil does it a lot. The most recent God of War does it, but the series that does it the most, that I feel like would be the perfect way for Castlevania to make a comeback, are Souls-like games like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, that have made the genre that people call Souls-like or Soulsborne games could be the way for Castlevania to make its comeback. Because if you look at the way those games function, they literally kind of function like 3D Castlevania games. So if you took, like, there's a Castlevania anime now. People are more versed in that world. I feel like, one, because of that, it's a perfect time for the game series to make a comeback in 3D. Because they tried to do it in 3D before, but it turned into a hack and slash, and it just didn't fit with, the original, it didn't translate well. They didn't translate what the 2D games were very well to 3D. But with Souls-like becoming a new genre, that would be their perfect gateway. You just get, start with like they did, start with Simon again, because Simon, even though Trevor technically has become the most popular Belmont because of the show, maybe they could start with Trevor. That would actually be smart for them to start with Trevor, because Trevor is the current Belmont in the anime. And so he's the one that everybody knows off the top of their head. So start with Trevor, make it a Souls-like. You don't have to make it as difficult. You can by adding difficulty levels. Like, obviously, if you put it on the highest difficulty, it should be like Bloodborne hard. But there should be options, which, Souls-like games don't really do this. They don't give you the option to change difficulty. But I feel like this Castlevania game should. And have it take place, of course, in the titular castle, the Castlevania. That's literally the name of the castle. This giant maze-like, teleporting, like very odd shaped but looks really cool castle and you go through it. You fight demons, you fight ghouls, ghosts, and goblins, and you fight vampires, and you have bosses. Just like in Souls-like games, you fight these different like supernatural creatures and make your way to a boss room, and you fight this boss until you get to the very end. You fight the big bad Dracula, and then he transforms into his demon form after you get halfway through the boss battle. I feel like this is a missed opportunity, and they should have done this a long time ago. I think that's it. That's all we got, man. That's hour 30. You can follow me at Dijon Mustard on Instagram, at Dijon underscore 432 on Twitter. I'm gonna put it on the screen. I made an overlay for the last podcast, so now I know how to make an overlay. So I'm gonna make one for this podcast so that our names and social media is already on the screen. We'll still put it like on my hair. I can't, because it's gonna be on the screen. Editing challenge, man. No, you gotta do it. It's never gonna happen again because gotta do it. Amir, of course, in his hair, T_H_N_Amir. The podcast itself, the Mustardcast, on everything, including YouTube, which you should be on right now watching this. So, comment, like, and subscribe. And like, comment. I'm telling you, comment. It helps YouTube know people are watching this video. Please comment. But yeah, I'm Dijon. I'm Amir. This has been a Mustardcast. Peace.